Love this style because it just gives it a nice cinch along the waist. Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Floise Njeru. Today we're going to be making this apron. It has a pocket detail that is so cute. For this project, you're gonna need a tape measure, some scissors, an apron to trace as your pattern, then 1 yard of African print fabric or any other fabric that you have. So we're gonna take the apron and fold it into half. I got this at Joann's one time. They had them on sale like that. Then you're gonna grab your tape measure and make sure you measure from the hip, the widest part of the apron. It came to, I think, 9.5. Yeah, that was 9.5. Then you're gonna take your 1 yard of fabric, stretch it, and make sure you look at where the patterns are and decide which part you want to place the apron. I like working with borders, so I'm gonna start from the top border there, as you can see, then move it close to the edge. I folded this 1 yard of fabric then now I'm gonna cut across and just make sure to leave a little bit of seam allowance. For me it's a 1/4 inch because I intend to bind the edges. I'm gonna use bias. So once that is done, I will then take out this piece, and that's what I have. After cutting it out, that's what I'm left with. But we're gonna have some pocket detail, so I'm gonna cut the bottom hem part and use it to put my pocket or to design my pocket. I love that pattern at the bottom. It's just gonna give it a nice contrast. There you go. Then now what I'm gonna do is I'm measuring 1.5 inch and cutting across all the way to the bottom. I'm gonna use these straps to make my final apron strap. So let's go sew. I just finished pressing the straps in the main apron base, and now this is something I also want to add to my apron, which is a cute little bowl. I don't know how those two work together in the kitchen, but maybe you can put the bowl in your hair and look pretty while you cook. This is one of the straps. As you can see, it's already ironed. I ironed the 7 of them. I was able to get the 7 out of the yard. And this is my main apron base that I ironed on fold. I'll tell you why, because when I go to place my pocket, I'm gonna need to center it real nice so that it's nice and centered. The first step that I'm gonna do is use these straps as my bias and start covering my bases, like 1 and 2. I'll fold it like that and leave a little space in between so that this edge is tucked in and covered both sides, so I don't have raw edges. It's nice and smooth on both sides. So that's how I kind of achieve that bias. If you want to be a little bit, fancy, you can use the already made bias. I just want to show you things that you can do on a budget. I don't want you to go through the extra cost. If you want to make this for sale, you can as well incorporate this, or just go full print on that, which I think is cute. All right, so we're gonna do the bias for this top area that comes around here, and then we're gonna do it on the sleeve side like so, and then we'll also do it down this way all around until where the other sleeve meets. So we're gonna do bias around here, here, and here, and on the bottom, round all the way up. So the first step will be to pin this bias. You've got to pin if you're a fast timer or a beginner. I can easily eyeball this, but I wanted to just, you know, make sure that it's pinned so that you see the entire process. And then you're just gonna pin the top part, leave this sleeve part alone. So I just finished pinning the bottom part. As you can see, the sleeve is left. I just pinned the top. Now this sleeve is left, and then I pinned all around the bottom, and I went all the way up to the other sleeve part, and I made sure that I left a little bit of allowance right there. So I'm gonna sew this down and then take you to the next step. Okay, now that we're done with the bias all around the bottom, all the way up to the sleeve area, our next step will be to measure our neck and see where we want the apron to fall. So we're now going to measure, or we're going to have our neck measurement. And what I like to do with that is I like to have this strap over, and what I do is I first fold this into half. I take one strap, fold it into half like so. This is 1.5 inch by 45, so I have it in half like that, and then I make sure that this is centered backwards. It's kind of eyeballing per se. Then I see where I kind of want, I don't like mine so low, so maybe that's my comfort area right there. So what I do next is I pin that section like so, not attaching it to the apron. I'm just pinning on that area. I'm gonna start pinning my bias again. I eyeball a lot, don't be like me. You gotta mark it. If you have to mark it with a chalk, please do. I have tailor chalks with me here, like this one right here. So if you're not careful, you might miss it, especially if you're sewing this to sell. You gotta always make sure that you have things centered. Always be very particular. So you pin that one first, so it's like we're pinning the bias halfway, and then you do the same to this other side nicely right there, and it's tucked right there, and we pin. Now you see we have the neck not pinned and the bottom not pinned. Why I choose to start with the neck is so that I have enough room to also manipulate the remaining ends. What do I mean by that? That means I have enough room to now add whatever extra is needed to the sides. So I'm going to just join these two pieces like that, and I also use the other strap to join. Remember we started with 7 straps, so I'm going to tell you how much I'm left with after this, so that you know exactly what to use. I'm a size 10, so if you're bigger, then you might need a little bit of that. So I'm going to pin those two ends together to join. Once I join all of them, then I will pin all around, and so I'm now done with the apron. If you don't want any pockets, this might be the final stage for you, and I'm gonna show you exactly that in a minute, like how the final one looks. But we gotta add pockets, so that's the next step. You can see that was the neck that came and attached to the top of the apron right there, this part, and then we went down all the way to where the met with the hem, and then it ended up being the straps. I'm just gonna mark my center area. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start pinning this to the garment centered, but at the very top. So I'm gonna fold and pin like so, maybe 1/4 inch, fold and pin so that I can sew along all the way. But on the top part, I'm going to add this bias detail to kind of protect it, and so that it's firm. When you dip your hands, you're not ripping the stitching, or it's not gonna wear out fast. So this is a nice way to reinforce your edge, your pocket edge. So we're just gonna do the same thing we were doing, fold it and put it into the groove like that and pin. And I'm gonna do that only for the top part of the pocket. The rest, like I said, I'm just gonna fold and pin, then sew. And this is a final product. I love these straps. They're so long. You can tie them to the back and leave it as such, or bring them forward, and you just have a nice cute little bow situation going there. I just love this style because it just gives it a nice cinch along the waist. Look at that. And add the pockets something else. So I like to split my pockets into two to give me options, and so that it prevents the apron from sagging. And as you can see, I also trimmed it here with more bias just to give it more reinforcement when you dip. And they're pretty deep. I think they're 9 inches by 15 inches. So that's super cute. And speaking of bows, I was able to save enough fabric to make this cute little bow that you can gift your sisters or your niece or your wife if you want to surprise them. So that's a cute one. I don't have hair, so I don't know how it's looking on your end, but I just don't like wasting fabric. If there's something I can make with, I just go ahead and do. So tell me what you think. Is this an easy project for you? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what other things you want us to make. I have so many projects that I want to share with you that you can do with just 1 yard of fabric. So stick around for this series of 1 yard pieces made out of African print fabrics, and it just doesn't restrict you to only African prints. You can make these pieces with other pieces of fabric. I know fabrics are very expensive sometimes, but if you can find a way to maximize the use of that and still maybe make money out of them, then why not? So that's it for today. I will see you next time in the next one.